Hello, Jerry here with Season 3, Episode 26 of Ask Jerry Tachoir. My question today comes from Andre in Finland. Hello, Mr. Tachoir. I first saw you at the North Sea Jazz Festival in Holland and again at the Montreux Jazz Festival in Switzerland many, many years ago. I was very impressed with your playing and the sound of your group. I also very much enjoy your Ask Jerry series, both very informative and entertaining. My question is more of a logistics question. Since you play such a big instrument, how do you manage to tour and get around for your performances? I've always been curious. Thanks so much and continue the good work, Andre. I picked this question because this comes up a lot. Obviously, it's a big instrument, and big instruments come with heft, weight, and just the difficulty in maneuvering and getting around and fitting on some stages. But let me tell you an interesting story. When I first started doing clinics, this was a long time ago, one of my very first clinics was at a school in upstate New York, Eastman School of Music. And I was a little, I guess, nervous about it because Eastman was a very well-known music school. So anyway, I came in, I did my playing, I talked a little bit, and then I opened it up for questions. One of the first questions that came up was, Jerry, do you work out? And I was quite honestly surprised because I was expecting really intense musical questions and technical questions and things like this. So I took a minute and I stopped and I was just kind of wondering where this came from. Do I work out? And then I realized, the nature of this instrument being that, first of all, you have to stand. So it's a very physical instrument. You have to stand and you're moving a lot. You're stretching out, you're leaning, you're standing on one leg, you got the pedal. And the fact, again, that it is a very heavy instrument, you have to be in shape to play this instrument. So regarding the workout question, it was actually a fairly intelligent question at that time. Yes, I do work out, and I have to. I realize that in order to be able to do what I do and get around from gig to gig to gig and schlep this thing, it's going to be a matter of me being in shape and physically able to do it. Now, several years ago, this was prior to the 9/11 New York incident with the bombing, traveling with the Vibraphone was never easy. I mean, it was always had its challenges. But at that time, it was a little bit easier. I was able to show up at an airport and give a $20 bill to the porter at the curb and say, can you get this on the plane? And usually it was taken care of. He took my instrument, he got it on the plane. I never had a problem. A lot of the problems were then when I got to Europe, European cars are a lot smaller, so I always had to try to request either a larger car or a van to carry the instruments. Nowadays, again, after 9/11, everything has changed. It has gotten incredibly complex to fly with a vibraphone and to get around Europe, well, actually anywhere. It's just harder. The airports don't like to put this instrument on the plane with you anymore. So a lot of times you'll have to actually send it in advance freight, which then again gets very expensive. And once it gets sent out, it's at the other end. A lot of times you have to really scrummage to find out where the instrument is and do your homework. So it's definitely complicated. Regarding local gigs are somewhat easier. If I'm doing something, say within a half-hour ride or like maybe 10, 15 miles of where I live, then what I do, I have it's a Toyota Sienna minivan. And so I'll take the bars off because the bars are real heavy. I roll them up and I put them in the case. And then I'll take the frame with the resonators and I'll slide it into the van. I took the seats out, I'll slide it into the van, and then I bungee cord it down, make sure all the wheels are locked, and I'm real careful. One time I did have it tip over and it broke. But anyway, I'm real careful now with it. And that's how I get locally to, like, say, a recording session or a local concert. If it's any further than that, then I'll put the instrument in its cases. The bars go in their cases, the resonators go in their cases, the frame folds up and I put it in its case, and then I'll put it in the van because I don't want to have to travel long distances worrying about if something suddenly would happen or an accident that I would have to deal with the instrument come flying around. So I'm real careful with that kind of thing. Now, regarding international travel right now, what I try to do, and again, I'm endorsing the Bergerol vibraphones and marimbas, and so being that they're based out of France, what I try to do is when I'm going to Europe, I see if I can get them to have an instrument either from a dealer or get an instrument shipped to me that'll work for me so I don't have to take my own instrument. And that's a little bit challenging at times to make sure I have a quality instrument that I want to play on. Regarding flying or traveling around the United States, right now we don't really fly that much. We have purchased an RV several years ago and we use that as our tour bus. So the instrument goes in the bay of the RV and we usually drive to a lot of our dates, which has been working out really well. But again, it is a bulky, heavy instrument. And you have to be ready to be able to deal with that. As you get older, you got to make sure that you're staying in shape, staying healthy, so that you can carry your instrument or have a lot of money to hire somebody else to do it. And if you're going to be a jazz musician, that may not be the case all the time. But anyway, that's really the only information I have, except it is a challenge. And it's every gig is unique in how to get the instrument to where it needs to be. Now, I like to play, if at all possible, my own instrument. There are times when I'll be traveling somewhere and I'll get a call to stop by a college or something to do a quick concert or a clinic or something, and I might not have my instrument with me, so what I'll do then is see what they have and try to fit into what their good instruments are, or at least borrow something that really works. But again, I prefer to have my own instrument. My own instrument is my touch, my sound. I'm used to it. I like the way it plays. And that's the preferable way to do it. So that's really all I have to answer this question on logistics. And again, it is a challenge. And prior to 9/11, it was a lot easier. And I forgot to mention, by the way, if you do want to ask me a question, simply go to my website, which is www.tachoir.com. That's TACHOIR.com. And in the upper right-hand corner is a contacts tab. Just click on that, fill out your name and information, and ask your question, and perhaps we'll do one of these videos. So thanks again, Andre. I appreciate the question. Very good. And keep listening, and hope to see you sometime, maybe in Finland. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.